What do you think is better, local banks or big banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America?
Great question. I think depending on what you're looking to do, they can all serve you. Like you're going to be able to do some things over at Chase that you may not necessarily be able to do over at a smaller bank and vice versa. So, for example, with Chase, at least right now, you might be able to get access to a Chase Business Inc. card in a nice bank account with them as a newer business versus maybe with a local bank. They may want to see a little bit more age on the LLC, sometimes 6 months, right, to a year before you can do things like that. But you want to have both inside of what I call like your weaponry of funding, where you want to be able to tap into both, right? They both serve their own purpose. You can do things at Chase, maybe get yourself a business credit card. Once your business is seasoned and maybe it's 6 months to a year, you can then go back with your taxes over with your local credit union or over with your bank, get yourself a business line of credit. Maybe it doesn't have any UCC filings. Like we know right now, regardless of dollar amount, you're going to get a UCC filing with bigger banks. That's just the name of the game. That's just what it is. And sometimes you can kind of bypass that with smaller banks because they want to earn your business. They want to bring in more clients, specifically on the business side, into their portfolio. And so use both to your advantage. It's not, this or that. It's this and that.
My personal credit is super low. Is it possible to get business credit just using my EIN?
Great question. So first things first is you want to ask yourself what type of business you're in. If you're just needing, let's say, gas cards, so for your travel, or you're just needing trade or vendor accounts. So let's say a trade or vendor account is like a net 30, a net 45. A good example of that is Home Depot. So you just needed to buy materials at that store, or you just needed to buy equipment at that store. Then you can very much so just get, again, vendor accounts or trade lines specifically for that, just using your EIN. Now, the other side of that is if you want financial accounts, also known as real cash value accounts, which is if I have a $50,000 business line of credit from the bank, I can use that for anything that I want, anywhere that I want, whether it's to cover payroll, buy real estate, buy materials, buy equipment, right? The difference here is that for financial accounts, you're going to need to have, or at least the owner is going to need to have a strong personal credit profile, 680 or higher minimum. If you're just going the trade account, then at that point, the business just needs to be organized, have its own EIN, and then you can start applying for those type of trade lines from the jump.
If I apply for a business credit card, how does the bank know when I'm ready for another?
Great question. Um, so there's really two ways that you can handle this. Number one is you kind of want to pace it. So sometimes banks will know if you're ready for another account by them just flat out telling you, hey, here's a brand new offer. Would you like to take it? Or hey, we've gone ahead and bumped up the amount of funding that you have or capital that you have in this account. That's like one of the ways that they do it. I always like to tell my clients, pace it. And so what I mean by pace it is you want to set on your calendar for all the banks that you bank with every quarter. You want to have your financial review. And this is why I mean this is why I've done so many videos on this, on knowing your numbers in your business and having a strong understanding of your financials, of where your business is. Not Here's the other thing, guys, before I finish this point, not just so much so that you can go ahead and get access to more capital. That's cool. But so that you actually become a legit business owner, right? So you can make real decisions with real numbers and real data for your business and for the people that work for you and with you, right? So I digress. Pulling back into this, you want to have a quarterly meeting set up with the bankers or with your bank, right? Walking in person and letting them know either, hey, this is what we did last month, or this is what we're projecting to do, and have the financials to back it up. If you're maybe not what I say, number savvy, which, hopefully you're not speaking that over your life because that will keep you broke longer than you should be. You should at least have a baseline understanding of your numbers. Get with your CPA, get with your tax attorney, get with your tax strategist, and at least have them draft that thing out for you, your financials, and have them organize that portfolio for you. Your financials, your bank statements, cash flow, cash in, cash out, have all that ready to go. And as long as you're showing that it's trending up, so if you maybe last quarter you did $100,000, this quarter going into, let's say, quarter three, you're now at 150. Well, guess what? That is a 50-point bump, or 50% bump rather, because you're going from 1 to 150. So you're actually trending upward, right? So your business looks healthy.